Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Here's another rendition of Midnight Thoughts, but instead of me speaking about my thoughts, I'm gonna tell you a story. I'm not much of a storyteller, so it's not a perfect story, and it's not gonna be a magical one. It's just gonna be a story. Story about a boy who had a very, very unsweet life. The boy grew up in a house full of unsweet foods. Nothing really satiated that lingering hunger he had, but he made do. Everything was peaceful, slightly. I wouldn't say peaceful. More like a balance of chaos and, I guess, happiness. Again, the boy had a very unsweet life from the very beginning, so it's more so he found good happiness in the little things. He never really thought of anything sweet because he's never had it before, so the idea never came to his head. And sure, there was that lingering feeling that he was missing something, but everyone has that in life. So he never thought much of it. He enjoyed sweets, or he enjoyed seeing ads for sweet things. And he never thought about having it, or he never craved it, but he knew that it's just something in life. It's not really definitive whether he gets it or not. So, no matter what, he just continued along his path. He didn't mind it, because he never really wanted it as much. The world came to a stop one day as so many of the sweets and unsweet things started to decay and die. And the world itself began to become bland all around, stalemated, and completely empty. But the boy never let that get him down. The boy kept trekking along, doing as he usually did, but in a little different manner, since, well, everything had to come to a stop. Again, he managed with what was going on around him, and he never really let it get to him. Yes, he was a chaotic boy, had very weird tendencies, often not really happy with others. He became closed off and slightly narrow-minded. It was because he was never really shown the other side of things. Always one side, the bitter, unsweetened side of life. So, one day, the world is slowly pacing and becoming flavorful again. I guess it's slowly coming back. Things are going back to what can be confirmed as normal. He's further away from other people, but it's better this way than decaying and dying. As that time goes, he finds something sweet. Now, at first, he didn't know what to do with it. Whether to eat it, to leave it, or just throw it away. But he decided to try it. He ate it, and he loved it. He liked the texture of it. He liked the smell. He liked how it tasted. And he overall liked the idea of it. This sparked something in him. And now he wanted more. But he couldn't have more because he had just that one sweet. But then he got dragged into a cycle where, well, he got more sweets. But those sweets slowly disappeared. He ate them a little too fast. And it wasn't his fault. He was enjoying it. But again, once an open bag will always end up being finished, no matter how long you take consuming the product. So, of course, he was sad about it, but he went on because it was sweet, sure, but it was only one version of it. One version of a sweet. And there's no way that could have captivated him to an extent that would be detrimental to his own being. But that's when he found another sweet. And when the downfall started to happen. But this time, he didn't go and try that sweet. Because he thought the sweet was just too much for him. It was gonna rot his teeth. It was going to make him fall. Meaning, he wouldn't be able to take it. So, he ignored it. Or more or less, he decided not to take it. And for a time, it didn't bother him. He went about his life. The world is fully back into function now. And that's when he found another sweet. Now, this sweet started off really tangy and what felt to be strained. It wasn't a super sweet that it was like a sour head. It was sour at the start, but it slowly became sweet the longer he tried it. Problem is, sour heads also go. So it disappeared. But then it came back. This grew curiosity in him. This grew a lingering hunger for more of it. He had already wanted it the first time he tried it, but now it's different. It's sour last. It's no longer sweet. At the end. And when he finished it, it then disappeared. But this time, it left in him more of a craving. So he sought out more sweets. But the more he looked, the more damning the sweets became. They became lackluster. They became bland. And he truly wanted something that fit the bill. So he kept searching. And then that sweet that he had longed for again came back. Desperate for that sensation again, he decided to try it out again. This time, he did his best to savor it. This time, he did his best to do everything in his power to make it last longer. And it started off sweet. It was really sweet. So sweet that it made him fall in love. So sweet that it kept him captivated, stuck, ignoring the tangy sensation that followed, or the cuts and bruises on his tongue. He started to lose himself in the taste, the sensation, the texture. He enjoyed it, but of course, it did not last. He slowly lost it again. This time it left a mark. This time it left a bruise. Although not physical, it was a craving. He wanted more. So much so that when he found out that that candy wasn't just for him, he still wanted that candy. He still wanted that sweet because he just wanted that taste again. That taste he had the very first time. And, of course, it came back. Although this time it came back broken. It was more like a squished lollipop that you accidentally sat on while getting on a public bus. Now it's ruined, but it still has its taste. So he enjoyed it, but this time it left more cuts and bruises on his tongue and on the roof of his mouth. But he still enjoyed it, because for that short amount of time it stayed, he was happy. He got that sensation again. Problem is, it disappeared. This time though, he couldn't take the loss of it, and it sent him into a craze. Forced to have bland foods again, he immediately tried to cut his tongue off. He didn't want any more bland foods, so the best course of action in his head was to cut his tongue off, to let it lay bare on the floor so that he would no longer taste anything. Problem is, well, he stopped. He stopped himself last minute, and he couldn't do it. So now he was stuck eating more bland foods because he was in a psych ward. Now, of course, he wasn't there long. He managed to start thinking of himself again, and he managed to get out in about a week, and he went about his life normal, although still regretting his actions, still regretting everything he's done, in the way he's become addicted to the sweet that he only had ever once and has never been the same. He would slowly become better. He would get better and be able to function correctly. Although many times he has thought of cutting his tongue off. Then came several other moments where the bland foods just wasn't for him. He wasn't happy with the bland foods, but he made do with it again because he's getting older and he can't chase something that has left marks on him. But unfortunately for him, that sweet came back, and it came back worse than it was the first time. More damaged, more hurt. It was basically knives. So, what did he do? He tried it again. Yes, he tried it again. As if the healing that he's been through meant nothing. He tried it again. This time, he almost didn't survive. The cuts in his mouth led to massive amounts of bleeding. And when it disappeared, he actually started the cutting of his tongue. His tongue almost completely off. He stopped himself again. This time, though, the damage was already done. The damage was far too much for him. Of course, he was locked up again, put into another psych ward because he was unstable, couldn't control himself. The urge, the want to cut his tongue off was slightly stronger than before. And again, he almost finished the job. Why did he stop? Because he realized how stupid it is that this sweet has him cutting his own tongue off. And yet, now he's locked up again with people he doesn't know, unable to leave, and with even more bland foods that doesn't taste anything like that sweet. But maybe that's for the better. Maybe it's for the better that he can still taste. So, he started to do what he always did. He started to take more gratitude in the small things. He started enjoying the little things again. But as time passed, he heard that sweet managed to get some, new styles. The sweet was now a gummy bear. No longer hard and spiky. It was soft, gelatinous, and, well, sweet. The fool he was decided, if it's a different shape, that means it's not gonna hurt him. This time, it didn't last long. And although he couldn't go to the store and always buy the sweet, he again grew fond of the sweet. His mistake again. Guess he didn't learn his lesson. Too much of anything can still be as bad as too less of anything. So as he started to consume this sweet more and more, he lost it again. It got off the shelves and was no longer in his local stores. He could no longer get it. And he once again spiraled. But this time was different. He didn't try to cut off his tongue. He realized how stupid that was. He decided to keep going. Or at least that's what he told himself. But in all reality, he still shut down and he was barely able to do anything. He couldn't move a muscle. Bland foods were all that he had to himself. And no matter how much he wanted more of the sweet, he couldn't get any more. So, what better to say than goodbye? A few months pass and, well, he's doing all he can to get his life in order. Although, every time he feels the very deep cut on his tongue, he remembers what he did and how stupid he was. He decided that every time he felt that deep cut on his tongue, he'll remember that it wasn't his fault that he got hurt. It was his negligence, but not his fault. He neglected to make sure that the candy was safe for consumption, and he neglected to stop when the candy started to hurt. But it wasn't his fault that the candy hurt him. The candy itself was at fault, whether it did it on purpose or not. The candy was broken and untrustworthy. The more and more he did for himself was the more and more he forgot about the sweet. And as life rolled around, he somewhat has it better now. He has a morning routine. He's able to function better and express more than just silence. But that means nothing if everything he does still leads to isolation. But he's better, happier. He's stronger. He is no longer the same boy he was 5 years ago. He's no longer the same boy he was 3 years ago. He's now a different person. Not different in the sense where he's not himself, but he's definitely not the same boy who would continue to try and chase that candy that hurt him so many times before. Now that boy wanders the world searching for more foods to try, more foods to enjoy, as those foods will bring more light into his life, more joy, more happiness. The foods that he's going to consume is not just sweets. It's going to be sour. It's going to be tangy. It's going to be hot. It's going to be cold. It's going to be spicy. But in the end, he's no longer craving sweets or unseasoned food, and he's no longer sitting idly and just accepting whatever's handed to him. He's now looking for more than one option, more than one serving. He is better. But this is only the start. He still has a long journey ahead. And this will only be the beginning of his story. Thank you for listening to my short story. Although I know not many is going to hear the story, I felt like sharing it. It's a pretty interesting idea and new for me. Usually I do 10-minute videos, and I don't know if this is going to be able to go on Instagram, but in any case, still enjoy telling the story. So, hope you liked it if you did listen throughout it. Sorry that I suck at storytelling. Like I said at the beginning, I'm not really good at all that, but I just need to get this off my chest. So, like I said earlier, thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys later.